is the Ridiculously Amazing Insurance Agent Podcast, hosted by me, Kelly Donahue-Piro. This show is for growing insurance agencies looking to maximize their biggest investment, their people. Listen to the top agency performance partners clients share their story on how they boosted their performance by executing a plan. Let's head to the show. Well, everyone, Kelly Donahue-Piro here, ready to kick off another Ridiculously Amazing Agent podcast, and really excited about this one. This client's only become my friend, but we even make some Ron Burgundy jokes, because if those of you know, you might have seen us at IAOA last year, where we had the Ron Burgundy impersonator. Well, when Celia and Andrew got married, they actually hired him to go to the wedding and be there. So we have a few Ron Burgundy jokes in here. But this is a really great story of an agency that's really putting the pieces together, doing the right things, holding people accountable, and having a good time doing it. They definitely started off with some challenges, but when you hear their story, I hope it motivates you to take the change that you need to in your agency. Their agency has 20 people in it, so no matter the size of your agency, you know what that looks like. Let's get started introducing Andrew and Celia Cross and Stephen Harrington. Well, hello, Ridiculously Amazing Agent Podcast listeners. So excited to have my long-term friends, because that's what we are, clients from the West Coast. So just to be clear, we're not talking about Cross Insurance on the East Coast, right? No, this is the better Cross Insurance, I think, personally. Yeah. I've got my friends Celia and Andrew Cross and Stephen Harrington here from Cross Insurance, and couldn't be more excited because we're going to dive in to how their agency operates. They've got, tons of people. So we're talking here to growing agencies with all the people and the locations and the coronavirus and all the things here today. So who wants to start by just introducing themselves, guys?
Well, I'm the Andrew Cross of the Cross Insurance Agency. So that's me.
One Andrew Cross.
Yes.
Yes.
And this is my double cross wife, Celia.
Hello.
We got Cross Squared on here.
That's right.
We got Cross Squared.
Yeah.
Coming up soon on a 1-year anniversary, actually, very close to the time this podcast will launch. So very exciting.
Yeah.
Right, 1 year. Oh my goodness. Gosh, that time has gone.
Yes, it has.
And then some people may know him as the Diva. I mean, you have a lot of different personalities out there.
I do. I have many hats and many faces. I'm Stephen Harrington, the Chief Operations Officer at Cross Insurance.
Excellent. So why don't we just get a little rundown of who you guys are, just for our listeners, so that if there's people out there that are like you, they can get nice and warm and cuddly and listen to this podcast. So give us the lay of the land. What does Cross Insurance look like?
Go ahead, boss.
Oh, okay. Well, as you know, I'm Celia with Cross Insurance Agency, one of the owners here. We have an independent agency that I'll have Andrew expound on, but we have multiple locations, which we've definitely had to rethink since the pandemic has hit. So I will probably go into a little bit of that. We have a representative in about 6 different states, and we have about 20 different awesome, amazing employees that make up about 4 departments. And so I'm excited today to talk with Kelly and just kind of how we started her program 2 years ago and has really allowed us to go completely remote this last year and actually be successful about it. So I am definitely excited about that. And Andrew will tell a little bit about how Cross Insurance Agency started.
Well, Andrew does have a good story, so this is good.
It was a dark and sultry night, and I found myself employed at a captive agency. And because I was a contractor and I love construction, but your income is way up and way down, I thought, you know what, Andrew, someday I'm going to find a nice wife and have a family, and I need some consistent income. And of course, I like the whole insurance aspect of the renewals and whatnot. So looked around, started a job at Allstate Insurance. And the deal was I was supposed to buy a large agency after a couple of years, and the owner couldn't let go of it because he was making too much money. So 2 years came and went. And I quickly found out anyway that representing one company does not work. My buddy down the street at an independent agency, he was writing far more insurance than I was, just from me telling people, I'm sorry, that doesn't fit into our appetite. You're going to have to call my buddy Doyle down the street.
You were his number one lead source?
Oh, yeah, I was his hero. So So anyway, I realized after 26 months, not the sharpest knife in the door, but one company's not going to work. So I left, and I was able to pick up a small book of business, less than $1 million, with Range Insurance. So I moved across the state of Washington, and I bought that book, which made me an independent agent. And we have been growing since. And that was back in 98, September 1, 98.
And you have a little affection to purchase agencies.
I do. I do. I have a hard time saying no. But anyway, no, we've done very well with that. We've been able to pick up 10 agencies along the way. And so that's helped us grow tremendously, obviously. It's hard to grow organically these days, as most people I'm sure know already. Yeah. So.
Awesome. So you guys do a little bit of personal lines, commercial lines, right?
We're about 75% personal lines, 25% commercial now.
Awesome. And so where do you see this crazy insurance space going, right? We've got a lot going on in the insurance space. What's your vision? What do where do you think we're all going to be in 5 years? Other than the nut house or a rehab center?
We'll all be working from the moon.
Yeah, we'll all be in rehab. But besides that, the independent guys, I believe, are going to be doing fantastic. I'm sure it's the same way around the country, not just here. You see, these captives open up shop, and 18 months later, they're out of business because they realize it's just tough. You can't represent one company, and it's hard to grow organically in the time frame that they require. And so, but being a independent agency and representing a lot of companies, I think that we're going to be golden moving forward in the future. But there's going to be a lot of consolidation. There always is. There's less people all the time.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a lot more that are going to have to invest more time and money into their agency, or either they're going to decide to sell. They're either going to be acquired by Cross Insurance Agency, because that's us.
On the west coast.
On the west coast.
But wouldn't it be so cool if you acquired Cross Insurance East Coast, which is like ginormous?
That's a pretty big fish.
That'd be amazing, right? Yeah, but no, I definitely foresee definitely the different ways of running an operation with the insurance. But there is, I think, a lot of opportunities out there. But you're going to have to, you're going to have to invest some time. You're going to have to invest some money and keep up with the relative age of technology, but still keep it personal.
And I think that's kind of the double-edged sword of being an independent agent. When you're captive, you have set ways to do everything. As an independent, you get to figure out the best way for your agency to do things. So I think that some of the smaller agencies are the guys that are not succeeding right now is because they don't have things in place. And I think that's where the acquisition comes in, with the agency that's strong in their procedures and policies.
Yeah, so true is that. I mean, even when you see the pandemic, like people that voice over IP systems, DocuSign, things like that. I was just on with one agency. In 2 weeks, they had, in this one teeny tiny location, 112 walk-ins, and 74 of them were payments.
Oh boy, yeah. Yeah, that's inefficient. Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah. Little bit of time there that could probably be picked up doing more fun stuff like renewal review calls. So,
Absolutely.
But that used to be us before Kelly got involved. Just saying.
Cutting out the payments,
Yeah.
Right?
Right. Restructure.
So what are you working on this year, right? We're in a new year. Last year, every plan people had kind of got thrown aside because it was a dumpster fire, for lack of a better word. What's the outlook this year? What are the big projects on the Cross Insurance burners for this year?
I think that the last couple of years we focused on retention and really got a solid base of retention. So for us, we need to grow by sales, solidifying more of the incoming calls and just training our staff. A lot of them are now super confident in retention. They're amazing. They can tear apart a policy and tell you what you're missing and everything else. But when it comes to the soft skills, I think they're still a little bit afraid, or they need that little bit more coaching to be more confident in being okay to tell somebody to buy something versus go, I know I quoted that for you. Did you maybe want to, do you want to call me next week and tell me if you want to buy it? Versus being like, hey, I quoted you a solid policy. I'm the best fit for you. Let's get your card number and get this going. So I think that we're investing again in 2021 for sales so that we can grow stronger and build a better base.
That's really a great way to do it too, because like you stop the people leaving as much as we can.
Yes.
And get all that squared away. And now it's time to say, do you don't want to sell one to lose one? Like at an agency your size, one of the big challenges is it's really hard to grow what you left, right? Just the pure numbers of it all are really hard.
Yeah, it's true.
And that's why I think that when we made the decision to do the retention program first, it really was the wise decision. We started our sales team with the sales, we did the rest of the team with retention, but at the end of the day, we focused everybody on retention and truly invested in that. And now we're ready to get them all on board with sales.
Yeah.
Are they ready for the challenge?
They're excited.
Yes, they are.
We've actually talked to most of them and they're actually really looking forward to it.
Yeah, which, that plays into the retention program, but we also did the branding program with Kelly as well, because part of that is we needed a cohesive message in a sense. And I think that's part of feeding into the sales going into this next year. Also, the challenge there is developing a cohesive structure on who we are, the message of the agency, from the agency culture all the way down to like the specific nitty-gritty processes. So we're doing a one-call resolution. So I think we have the branding guide in play, but now we're actually developing, what does that mean? So that then the agency and the employees and our team members can be able to share that with the customers. I think it's definitely a selling point, which is why we changed our it's Cross Insurance Agency. We went from join the family to insurance with no surprises. And it's basically proactive. And I was looking at our brand and I was like, well, what does this mean? And this is the way I kind of look at it, is the agency culture is described in 7 words, and it's personable, helpful, informative, friendly, caring, encouraging, and easy to understand. And I think that as I started really thinking about that, it's like, that's who we are in terms of who we hire, what we try to offer to our customers, being proactive. And so I think that's the challenge of, yes, it's the numbers, it's getting the program going, but then now also bringing in that cohesive of who we are as an agency, is still keeping it personal.
And I know from my side, it really put into perspective and makes it a lot easier to sell the agency, what I'm interviewing and hiring. So I go through, and as we're doing the interviews, I'm very upfront and honest about how our agency operates, what we do, and what our vision and goals are. And I let people know if I don't think it's a good fit. And it's become much easier to find those candidates that are great fit for the agency versus hiring somebody to have to unfortunately let them go 3 or 6 months later because it just wasn't working.
Well, and let's talk about hiring, right? Because I remember when we first met, I remember that day, you two beelined out of there and had to deal with what you guys were going to go deal with, which was unfortunately turning over some people. But
ripped that Band-Aid off.
Best decision ever.
Yeah.
Steven, get in the car, let's go. It's like Sally and I were like, okay. But I think there's twofold to the hiring, right? And I'm curious in everyone's perspectives. In insurance, sometimes we hold on to the wrong people for a very long time because we're so scared we're not going to find somebody, and training sucks and all that stuff. Yes. And, we get burned on hiring. I think hiring is like dating. It's like, nope, I got divorced. Dating doesn't work. There's no good people out there. So I'm going to sit at home with my cat. And it's like, so talk a little bit about hey, holding on to people and what your experience was, because I want you to inspire that agency that was I just can't let go of them. If I let go of them, the world's going to fall. And what you did, and you don't have to name names or anything, but what would you give people's advice in that same situation?
We
Go ahead.
You know what?
Go ahead.
We can laugh about it now, but in the moment,
we can laugh about it now. It was so stressful. I mean, literally, that's why we met with Kelly. We did some assessments, and there was a couple of people that just had to go right away.
Which we already knew.
We knew.
Yeah.
We knew. This had to happen. We knew this had to happen. But literally, we were so stressed out and upset, and it was the things you didn't want to hear that you just needed to hear. that I was like, Andrew and I were like, we just need to do this now. Like, let's just get it done. Let's just go. And we literally left that afternoon and made it to one of the offices, then the next office the next morning, and then the next day, the next one. I mean, it was like boom, boom, boom. Within 2 days, 3 of the 4 people that we needed to replace their positions were gone. And the 4th one stayed for quite a while longer, but that was an unfortunate choice. But I think that overall it was just, once it was gone, like suddenly all the stress was gone. Like you were like, oh, like I don't have all these problems popping up every day. And it was a different kind of stress. Like we had a lot more to do and people had to pitch in to get stuff done, but it wasn't problems. It wasn't like, oh Lord, I'm going to have a mad customer again. I'm going to have, so-and-so calling because they're bringing the whole team down, or everybody's going to be mad at so-and-so. So overall, it was a very positive change, or a positive stress to change to.
And the staff loved it and appreciated it.
Slow to hire, quick to fire. And it is a sense of relief, and actually come to find out the team gets closer because you don't have
A divider.
the problem people, in a sense, just like with customers, 10% make the most noise. And so a lot of times, and that's happened just recently, we had to let some people go, and it wasn't that they weren't good at insurance, it's attitude. And Andrew's always said is attitude's everything. You can teach insurance, you can teach anything, but if the attitude is not matching to our culture, it's pushing a wet noodle, and it causes a lot of frustration.
I had a weird visual of a wet noodle and getting pushed.
So so it's exciting, and part of the hiring process was Kelly put together some suggestions. Job positions, super important.
Job descriptions.
Took some brain work, but we got it. Omnia has been really good, which is just establishing, are they a good fit? And it's been very accurate. Doing a quick 15-minute interview. That's what Stephen got very good at. Teaching them with the technology. He'll send them a Zoom meeting, see how they can do it, test their technology skills. That's huge. So those are some aspects that we're definitely getting, and figuring out the channels where we can hire people. And because we have established kind of this box and the culture, who we stand for, the job positions, our team members are now recommending their friends as well. So it's actually becoming a lot easier. And then we give them an incentive if that person stays on for more than 90 days. So those are some aspects that we have built in terms of the hiring. And we're trying not to get in a hurry.
Right.
There's some good fish.
Proactively hiring versus reactive.
Yep.
So Stephen, explain that, because I don't think people always get that. We always say hire to preparation, not desperation. You should always be looking. So can you just tell people, like, what are you doing? Like, you're not just saying we have an opening, let's go on Indeed, right? Like,
right. So, I mean, we've gotten to the point now where the process is extremely streamlined. We have our job descriptions. Celia's really good about posting them out and about in different places, so we get some response. Pre-COVID, it was a little more difficult because we were targeting very specific locations. And once COVID hit, it became a lot easier because we were completely remote. So a few of the people we've hired since will not be in the office on a regular basis. They're strictly working from home. But what was really nice is having the job descriptions in place. We had set those all up with Omnia for profiling. We set up the process for the 15-minute interviews so we could weed out the bad ones right away. They look great on paper, but it's just not a good fit.
They can't use words.
They can't figure out how to use Zoom, and they call into the meeting. That's the first sign to me that maybe that's not a good fit for us. But I mean, just being very proactive. So we always have posts out there. Our website always has jobs listed. Our marketing team makes sure that those are appearing in searches. And then as we feel we're growing or we might need a position, we're proactively putting those back out or refreshing the words so they're showing back up higher in the searches. And I do interviews throughout the year. We might not need anybody, but if I find an amazing person that's a great fit for our culture, we'll probably build a position around that. or we're going to know like, oh, somebody's maybe not quite where they need to be. So let's go ahead and get somebody else in and trained. And we're going to hope that everybody works out. But if they don't, then we have that backup in place.
And we tell the team, and Steven's
Yep.
very good at letting everybody know, like, hey, this is what we're looking for.
Yep.
And we're always looking. So
We're
if you know anybody,
open and honest with all of our team about what we're looking for and why.
that's awesome. But, you know, I think it's so important because for many agencies, when we get called in, it was that kind of like, you know, and you guys know, we've talked about it. I get the nickname of the executioner, like, oh, Kelly's going to come in and you're going to shake off some staff.
Every panic hire I've made has not worked out. Let's put it that way. They're no longer with us after I've hired them.
Yeah.
And you know, and I always said, it's like I know who you're gonna let go, because the entire conversation we have always goes back to these people, right? So my tip to you is, if you're, and Stephen kind of alluded to it, if you're having the same conversation about the same problem people, that is your cue. Put them on a 90-day performance improvement plan, or just rip the Band-Aid, because all that time that you're sucking up, you could just be doing their job.
That's right.
Yep.
You
Yes.
know, and you know, that is a big deal. So kind of taking a look at it, we know where you're going. We're focused on sales and selling insurance. How has COVID been for you guys? Like team culture, morale? I feel like every day was a different day at some point. It was I had every emotion that you could have during this year. Emotions I didn't even know I could have, I had this year. So how was it for you guys? And what were the high points and the low points?
I'll start if you don't mind. Actually, I will. It's been a very successful year.
Yeah.
I will put it at that. It has had its challenges, but because of the work that we have been doing over the last 2, 3, and I'll even say 5 years, and I'll give some credit to Andrew. Ever since Andrew has started the agency in 1998, Andrew has always put back into the agency. So he has always made sure that our servers are in place, our security, our firewalls, we have the latest computers, laptops, screens, software. And so because he has invested all these years into that, when we did have COVID and the pandemic, from that aspect, we were ready to go. And so the second half was because we had taken on Kelly's your programs. The branding part helped in terms of who we are, and we're building on that. But the retention program helped our agents know what they were supposed to do in a day.
Yes.
Like what their top priorities were. And a big part also, when not only ripping off Band-Aids and letting people go and so forth, the other side of that you did really help us, Kelly, is developing departments for our agency, because we were running as it's not a bad thing, a mom and pop shop. There's nothing wrong with that. But when you're working with 5 team members versus 20, you cannot run a business effectively and efficiently on that same format. And so by doing that restructure, developing an account manager, personal lines, CSR team, and just building on that, now we have a marketing team and sales team, it has helped put together the puzzle piece. So when the pandemic came and we told everybody, okay, you know, you have the option of working from the office or you can work from home, most went home, they knew what to do. Mm-hmm. Because they had the expectations of, you have your account reviews, you reach out to the customers, it's there. What our challenge was making sure, are they staying accountable? Are they in their footy pajamas and just kicking back?
Are they working in their garden?
Yeah. Are they picking up the phone?
Yeah.
So that part, from that transition was hard. Finding the laptops, there was a shortage. That was a challenge. So we went to
about a 3-day period of buying sprees where I got contacted by Best Buy and Office Depot security for fraudulent activity on our credit cards.
You slip the guy 100 when they come in, he calls and it's like,
right,
you got the good.
So I think the biggest hurdle was I felt like we were on a freight train and not exactly knowing when the track was going to take a left or right or go through a dark tunnel. And a lot of that was because because we're an independent agency, our carriers are getting information from the state, the commissioner, the billing adjustments, any type of left turn. And then of course, all the carriers are coming out at different times. And our biggest, as management, our challenge was helping the team know what to say to the customers, right, and how to say it, so that a lot of times we didn't really have much answers, but it was just kind of helping the customers as best as that we could, and then keeping track of what carriers had what restrictions and no restrictions. So that was a challenge. One
of the challenges with that too was how often do you call the team in together so everybody hears the same thing versus what can be an email versus, and at the beginning it was like every day we were having a meeting with half the staff or all the staff. Yeah. Because things were changing so quickly.
Yeah.
But then as a management team, as we got a better handle on what was happening, we were like, okay, once a week we can do this. Once a week we can do this, and it'll be emails or other messages in between. And we had to kind of develop our own best practice of, it was a disruption for everybody to meet every day versus what could we really hold off on or what's not imperative for 2 or 3 days.
Right.
So we were still just getting getting used to meeting on Zoom meetings and what. I mean, we had to, people were shy on the camera. I mean, we had a lot to overcome at first.
Yeah.
And so, once that kind of, the cow was out of the barn, then we cut that back to once a week or once a month or whatever it needs to be.
Because I think we brought in 3 new softwares since the pandemic hit. And one was Microsoft, Microsoft Business 365, but it's got a lot of the software. So Teams was our formal channel of putting information and chatting with our team. And then we also put in play another software called Symphony, which is more of a performance-based program, which has been helpful. So there's been a lot of a learning curve in terms of software, but the team has definitely taken it on with stride for sure.
Well, I think we were fortunate enough as well that Andrew made the resources available as well, or the corporation made the resources available so our team could be successful. A lot of them were very stressed out and there was a lot of uncertainty. And as soon as we called them, we said, everybody will have a laptop, everybody will have flexibility, everybody has a job, we're going to tighten our belt and we're going to make things happen. But as soon as we laid that out, they worked harder, I almost feel, because they were very appreciative of the fact that we were investing in them. And it was some struggles with technology, and it was some struggles learning new things or trying something different. But overall, we shared the big picture with them and let them know the reason that we had to do certain things. And I think that was essential in staying successful during the beginning of the pandemic.
Are you an insurance agency with over 10 people in your small commercial and personal lines departments? Do you love our videos, podcasts, and content? If so, we heart you. We love you, love you, love you for that. We're pleased to announce our Agency Performance Program. It's a 2-year program that gives your agency a butt kicking. No, we're here to make you ridiculously amazing, but you gotta get serious about it. We're going to give you a plan for your agency with the support of my entire team and me, Kelly Donahue Pira, as your coach for your agency, one and only. We'll start with an assessment of the agency and then get key metrics so we can be working on them. We'll launch your team efficiency and start a time management program. Then we're going to go into renewal review calls and install a sales process. You're going to get all of our process templates along the way and access to me as we hit any road bumps, speed blocks, etc. We're only taking 20 clients into this great program this year. So if you're interested, hop on right now. But it is only open to agencies with over 10 people that focus in personal and small commercial, and just the departments. Your whole agency doesn't, but we'll be working with that department. And you get unlimited attention from me. Who wouldn't want that, right? Maybe you do, but maybe the team doesn't. I don't know. Hopefully we get it all going. Reach out today so that you can secure your spot, and we'll see you soon.
Well, and I think too, it's like when people before would have been like, oh, I don't want to, I can't, I'm so busy. It like that kind of went away in the beginning of the pandemic. And it was like, let me step up to the challenge and figure this out. Like people who couldn't figure out how to get things to work suddenly were like, back against the wall. Let's do our best to make it work. Now, you guys also had a lot going on in Washington. Like
Yeah.
you had, I think your state caught on fire. So everybody was like at home. So you had wildfires coming. Downtown Seattle had its fair share of very public issues. You had an autonomous zone at one point.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Jeez.
Every day was a new challenge for you guys out there, and keeping through it, and obviously rising to that occasion is something, and making sure that your staff's okay, right? Like that was a big part of this. Like, hey, the only outlet we all had for a long time was work, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And the outlet was the auto insurance carriers say, hey, you're going to get this rebate check.
Oh,
$53 for you and $27 for you.
$12 for you. And when am I going to get my $12? I haven't got my $12 yet. So any strategies that you had to keep the team morale high, like while it just seemed like every day you'd wake up and kind of cry and laugh at the same time about what might come at you next?
One of the things we actually found to be really successful, and it was, we were so worried about people fleeing in droves because they were losing their jobs or they were being laid off. And we were just really worried right at the very beginning of what was going to happen. Was it going to be 2008 all over again? Was it everything crashing? That we started care calls is what we called them. So we still did our account reviews, but every agent had to call 6 people, just random people in there that they serviced, just to say hi and check on them. It wasn't allowed to be anything sales related. They weren't allowed to talk about coverage unless the client asked. It was literally just like, hey, just calling to check in on you. And at first it was a chore for many of them. They were like, I can't make 5 more calls a day. I'm so busy anyways. But once they started doing it, they were like, I called and I talked to an 82-year-old lady and I was the only person she's talked to in 2 weeks and nobody's ever checked on her and she doesn't have any groceries. And, you know, or it was, oh, this mom's at home with her kids and she just got laid off and she doesn't know what she's going to do because they're not going to school. And I was like, I know, I'm still working, but I have my kids at home. And so, I mean, it was, they really started connecting with the customers and got to see kind of that diversity. And I think that helped for a lot of them feel that they weren't alone as well. And it was just that connection with the customer.
Yeah. I think it's the giving back, you know, big giving back mentality, right? Like going in there. And so I just had this image pop in my head, Andrew, and you'll laugh at this. I remember coming out at your Christmas party doing the last training where you were wearing the naked male sweatshirt.
Yeah, that's right.
So if you ever want to throw me off your game, you will wear a naked man's, hairy man's sweatshirt with, I think you had like a nipple ring with a Christmas ornament on it. And Andrew's walking around in the back and I'm just watching him wear this sweatshirt. And I'm like a couple times like, I don't think I could do this. And then another team member, I think, had another one too. So like looking out in the crowd of the 20 people, there's 2 people that appear naked because they're wearing a naked person sweatshirt for the holidays. So I think I'm opening them up myself to some real challenges by just sharing the story, but that was a good time.
I should have won the ugly sweatshirt contest for that one, but I guess I didn't.
I think they was like vulgar. Like it was hard to watch. Glad you didn't wear it today for our viewers, but might have to come out later for the next team meeting. I think I'm not completely sure, you know.
Right.
Bigger and better.
One thing that you guys talked about too is like holding the team accountable. How important is data to you and HawkSoft and all that fun stuff?
I love data.
Well, tell us about it.
Tell us about your passion.
I had no idea.
Yes.
And I'm totally a data nerd, so I can't even pretend like I'm not. Like, I'm the funnest person you'll ever meet, but I can also tear apart some numbers like a crazy person. And what it is it just gives a true picture. There's no lies in what's happening if you learn to read the data or if the data is input correctly. So by growing through mergers and acquisitions and buying 10 agencies and locations being thrown in, things were being done 15 different ways at 5 different locations. And trying to rein that in and set a base of what the best practice was or how things should be entered or how things should be done was what we needed to do at the beginning to find out what we really had or where we were struggling. So by explaining to the agents and the staff why we needed certain things done a certain way, and becoming an open book, I think that it very much helped them. So now we do a business meeting once a month where we share our numbers. How many policies did we lose? How many do we add? What is our retention? What was the cancellation rates? How many calls did people make? How many were answered? How many weren't? And the staff's eyes are just open. So when it comes time for a review, or they come asking for, a raise or bonus or whatever, it's not a shock if it can or can't happen because they know where we're at with performance. So, I mean, right off the bat with retention, if we're losing more than we're writing every month, we either need to downsize our staff or we need to write more business. We can't just keep bleeding the turnip for, but making it in a way that they could understand and easy for them to read is what really became important for us.
Well, and it's also like, if you're so busy and we're shrinking, how does that work, right?
Right.
The B word that we're all such big fans of that we don't like to
Right.
use at all. So I know we talked a lot about the renewal review call program, and thank you guys for speaking so kindly about it, but hello. I think that, one of the things that I love seeing through the program is, the staff starts out with this paranoid, horrified look on their face, like ghost white, throwing up in the waste paper basket. We're going to call everybody once a year for an annual review, right? And then we fast forward 6 months later and they have confidence and they don't want to stop doing it because they realize that their life is harder. So that's what I get to see. But where did you see your team really kind of change in 6 months?
I think that we saw a big, from the beginning, we made it very clear what the expectation was of the program, and we reviewed the numbers weekly with everybody. What calls were being made, what calls weren't being made, and what was happening with each call. And then we worked individually with people that were struggling in attaining certain things, but we shared the numbers with everyone. So if Susan was struggling, she'd reach out to Mary and Mary would help her, or they'd kind of team up because one was good at something, one was good at another. But it took probably 4 or 5 months for the light bulb to turn on for some of our agents. And it was weekly conversations of, if you just do this, this is what will happen. If you just do this, it was almost like a broken record. And it's not that they were bad agents or couldn't do it, but either the way we were explaining it or the expectation was being set, they were just connecting the two. So it took about 4 months for them to really get the buy-in and get on track. And now it's like a freight train. I think most of them would agree they couldn't see their day without doing an hour or two of account reviews or getting to know their customers. We now have customers complaining if somebody leaves and we move a book around because they don't have that
I had a person
that built the relationship with. So we're trying to change it up a little bit where they say, I'm one of the people you can contact. There's a whole team of us, but if you've got a question, let me know and I'll be happy to help. So I think now it's just second nature. They know that every morning when they come in, they're going to have some accounts to review. They know what the expectation is. And it's just become second nature. What we struggled with for a while was, as we were onboarding new staff, getting them used to that process because it became so routine to everybody else. It was hard to do like a 6-month training program with a new hire in 1 or 2 weeks. So we really reassigned that assignment to our personal lines manager who fully understood the program. She helped develop part of it with our agency. And she's got it now to about a 2-week training with follow-up every week with the new members of our team. So that was essential for us to grow and continue being successful in that program.
Which I can attest, actually, the pandemic helped with that because I know Kelly Donahue was working very hard, being able to offer online resources and programs. And so that actually, we've implemented that into some of the new hire. We're coming up now with about a 2 to 4 week hiring process of what they're going to learn when they come on board. And that's one of the programs. So
because you're always going to be finding really good people.
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
it's a good thing to map out. And then if we switch over to the sales side, because the sales team was really fun for me. We did secret shopper calls on them. And one of their team members is the only person that actually called after they found out they were secret shop, called the secret shopper and thanked them for the feedback.
That's right.
She was amazing.
She's like, I just want to let you know that was really helpful.
Yeah.
Most people are like miffed and ticked and pissed and everything else. And she was just like, no, that was really, really good.
I did a one-on-one with her and was explaining why things were happening or why people were feeling certain way. The secret shopper was feeling the way they were feeling. She was like, oh, okay. And it was like, she was just like, cool, I'm going to go ahead and change the way I do it then. And she did. So she's like, I'm calling them and telling them thank you.
Well, and I think that they're, from the sales side, what were, a couple of like the high points that the sales team really took away? Because I feel like everyone had a different light bulb moment a little bit. But once they got that light bulb, they're like, became like super obsessed with it.
I think it was the first call resolution, quoting over the phone for the easy account, just get it done.
You say that again, because a lot of people say it can't be done. You can't quote over the phone, right? You can.
If somebody's calling for a quote, they expect to be on the phone for 15 minutes. They don't expect 3 minutes and then a call back 3 hours later. No. So what the team, and that was a huge struggle for them at the beginning. But if it's a simple account, just quote it and be done. If it fits, it fits. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Code it, don't code it. Bye, yes. And so they really freed up some of their time because they would write all the information down and set a suspense. Then the phone would ring 4 more times and then they'd have to get back to it. Then it had been 3 hours and it was only supposed to be an hour. And they're like, I can't get the quote done because the phone keeps ringing. Well, if you do it while you're on the phone, your phone won't ring, right? Mm-hmm. So you're already blocked. We're not going to set separate time for you to block yourself later. So I think that was the big light bulb. I also think that they were no longer afraid to ask for the sale. It changed their attitude. If it was a more complicated account or something that they did have to call back on, they'd call back and be like, here's what you need. And the customer would be like, but I want apples to apples. Well, that's great, but I'm telling you what you need. And since I already do your home, I'm the best agent to do your auto. I'm looking out for you. I know your account. I'm going to take care of this for you. Or here's the package I recommend. If you want something else, that's great, but this is what you actually need. And becoming more of an advisor versus an order taker was a huge light bulb for a lot of the sales team as well.
The scripts helped too.
Sure did.
Yes.
Having the scripts, because it was, coming up with the rebuttal of the no's but politely saying yes, but, and it was, successful that way. I think a lot of it too is knowing your numbers. It seems like you're quoting, it seems like you're selling a lot, but when, like Stephen said, numbers don't lie. And so that was very eye-opening for us, and to develop a tracking method within our management system, because we didn't have that before.
Yeah.
And so that part has been super helpful. So then they can actually see where their progress is. So that's why we're super excited this next year, having all of our account managers, not just our sales department. That is something that we did change this year because of the pandemic. We had actually 2 full-time sales, inside sales based on commission. And because they had been with us before and had gone through the retention program as well, we actually pulled them in as account managers because there's just literally for months was just no one, all quotes went out the door. And they needed some way to have a paycheck. And so
and I'm pretty sure with like the wildfires, you couldn't bind anything for, like there was no binding authority.
There was earthquakes and there was moratoriums and then
right. So it was like
rising water.
So, I say during the pandemic, yes, there were hardships, but at the same time, it was actually successful because now we've got our 2 salespeople and we've already talked with them. They'll be going back out again in January to their old positions, but they are so much more rounded and informed because they've actually had to work an actual book of business in the retention program. day to day. So that I'm excited to see where they're going to take it coming on board, and hopefully we'll hire some more salespeople as well.
And can I just give a shout out to the breakup in the sales
Well, I was
process?
gonna say there was two things I was gonna
I
say.
love-
Breakup was one.
And that was like the sales team gets so excited. They'll call me now and they'll be like, so and so kept like ghosting me, and I did the quotes and they were really complicated, and then they wouldn't call me back, and I'm not emailing them to them because you told me I can't email them. So like day 14 comes and they send well, it appears you're not interested or have found coverage elsewhere, so I'm going to go ahead and close your file. If you change your mind in the future, please reach out. And they go, and almost immediately, every time the phone rings or they respond, I've just been really busy and I'll get back to you, I swear. And it gives the agent some closure too. So they're like, okay, I did my job. I offered them what I needed to. Bye.
Mm-hmm.
Or, oh my God, then they called back. Or, I don't feel bad because I told them I was closing their file and they didn't respond. So it must mean they really didn't need me anymore.
No, I think that the breakup, I remember that they would be like, and I broke up with this person and that person, and then they call me back and I bound it. It's like, that's right. You can't give yourself all away, man. You can't be too available, play hard to get, you're not a dime a dozen. And then Stephen alluded to it. The other one was, and I think in the beginning they were like, but I think I'll email some quotes, right? So we have a big strategy, like you never email a quote. And then they'd be like, well, I emailed this one, and they'd be like, but they never got back to me. I was like,
and they won't, yeah.
Because you gave them what they wanted.
Yeah, they saw the price, they don't care about you, and they moved on. So they got really good about not emailing the quote, and also not writing 7-page emails with all the coverages in them too. It was just like,
Right.
this, and this, let's do it. Come on, move forward. So they were a lot of fun to work with on that front too. They picked up the strategies, and hopefully they're not emailing quotes, because that would, as we redo this in February, they're going to get
Yeah.
We're going to shut off their email. Only
Right.
email.
I
They
really
can't email out.
Yes, no email. I would like to up the ante as a goal to do video proposals. I'd really like to get to that, particularly because our team's now so acclimated to technology and online. They're challenging themselves, and they're not as afraid anymore because they had to. So
Right.
That part good.
Yeah, this is what somebody said to me the other day. Like, people are like, oh, I don't want to get on video. I'm like, well, we see you all the time looking the way you are. Like, your customers have always seen this. It's just new for you to see it.
Correct.
You didn't wear a paper bag when you went to the office over your head.
You always look that bad.
You always look like that. That's the deal, And by the way, you could put on a nice hoodie, put on the nice hoodie today. That's all you got to do. One day a week, we're gonna get on a meeting. Put on the nice hoodie. You'll be fine.
Today we had our agency team meeting would be every Thursday, and it was a formal day, right,
Formal day.
Stephen?
Today was holiday extravaganza, where everybody got to wear their evening gowns and blazers and their fancy clothes.
Did people do it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
One of
yeah.
our agents wore a ball gown. I wore a sequin tuxedo jacket. Our marketing guy had his tuxedo with his garland on it.
One of
Wow.
her furs.
Yeah,
One of her
furs.
One of our
furs.
agents showed up in a fur.
So
Hair and makeup was done. I mean, it was the most gorgeous our team has looked on Zoom.
I wanted to have a party. I was like, I have to book for 2 years from now because everything,
That's right.
all the venues are going to be full.
We're having a formal Christmas party on Zoom right now.
Oh, yeah.
Those are ways that we try to have fun.
No doubt, man. That's hysterical. I have to put on formal attire. We'll dress up clothes tomorrow, and I'm just kind of like, all right. I don't think I've worn heels in 6 months, so this will be interesting. But I guess if you're on Zoom, you're sitting. They could have had a whole different scenario, What is happening with that? The high heel, shoemakers and the makeup people? They must be drowning. Can't keep it alive.
I don't know.
Well, I appreciate you guys hopping on. It's been great. It's been a lot of fun. Why don't we just wrap up with some final thoughts? Like, for agencies out there listening, maybe thinking about using us, maybe resonating with some of the challenges you have, what's one piece of advice you'd give agents out there that maybe you've learned through this process that they could take to the bank and run with?
I would tell, and I have told agencies, just bite the bullet and do it. Kelly's not cheap, but you're going to make that money back times 10. So, that's a great investment. So just do it. Yeah, don't.
Hey, you guys don't sell cheap insurance either, you know?
No.
No.
Well, the problem is you go to these trade shows and there's, 40 booths of people trying to hawk something to you. And most of it's junk, but there is some good ones in there, and you're one of them. That's how
Oh,
we
thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. And
Thank
so,
you.
in fact, if you didn't come so highly referred by other agents that we respect, we probably would have walked right by you too. But
Ron Burgundy would have got you.
that's right.
Round year 2, Ron Burgundy would have got you.
I think too, talking with other agents that have used the program. So just pick up the
Yes.
phone and call if you have
Yes.
questions. I mean, reach out, because we would have never done it had we not talked to other agents as well.
Right.
That had glowing reviews and gave us real nice life scenarios of how it worked for their agency and what the struggles were.
Well, and top secretly, just so everybody knows, if you've liked hearing Stephen Harrington talk about data, he's actually built our sales, how to use HawkSoft for our sales program, and our retention program. So there's full guides in our online school on how to use HawkSoft for those programs. So special round of applause for Stephen, the diva of insurance.
That's right.
Thanks.
That's right.
Thank you, Stephen.
Well, I appreciate you guys very much. I want to be respectful of your time and make sure that you got plenty of time to go. We're shooting this in December. This will launch in February. So hopefully all your Christmas shopping is done, Andrew, you all set?
Oh, yeah. I can't think of anything else we need.
Aww. Well, and I know Steven's got the expensive taste for the Gucci, so hopefully there's some Gucci underneath your tree, friends.
I don't think there's gonna be, but I wouldn't mind if it appeared at the door.
you wouldn't turn it away.
I
and say
wouldn't
that
turn
can't be
away
for
the
me.
Gucci messenger now, and it does require signature, so let me know if it's coming.
Well, this has been a blast, guys. Thank you so much for all the kind words. If anybody has any questions, you can reach out to these friends. But I think the big takeaway I had today is, if the staff is driving you nuts, you got to do something about it. Don't hold back, because if we looked at it from when the first time I met you guys, if we had put that same staff through the retention program, just in your head, do a little daydream about what that might have looked like.
Yeah, not so well. Yeah.
There was some we did put through the retention program, but unfortunately they found other opportunities in the workplace.
Which is great. Everyone deserves to find a place that makes them happy, right?
Yeah.
That's right.
All right. Thank you guys so much. Really appreciate it.
Thanks,
All
Kelly.
right, here.
Thank you.
Is building processes and procedures top on your list to do this year? But you're overwhelmed and you don't know where to start. With so many things on your plate, how can you be ridiculously amazing at all of them? You just can't. It's not possible. Although I wish it was. And if someone has that method out there, let me know. But if there's only a template you could start with, would that change things? There is now. Our new Agency Performance Partners website has an entire section of process packs for your agency. Our process packs include not only the workbook, the templates, emails, scripts, and videos to go along with each section so that you're not alone. You can download them and tailor them exactly to your agency, but it gives you a place to start. And you get the best practices that we've developed over the course of time. What's better than that? We keep adding more every month, so you need to check in. But just to get started, we have winning back unsold quotes, setting goals for every role in your agency, 6 strategies to help you run your agency, job descriptions, a hiring guide, sales scripts, retention scripts, and personal lines endorsement checklists. And more are coming all the time, so you have to be on it to check it out. Follow our social media or emails to get in on the know. Head to our website for more details. You can see each process pack and you can actually buy them right online. No need, if it's 1 o'clock in the morning and you are stressed about writing job descriptions, we got you. Also, most of them are $100 to $200, so they're very reasonable. And you get all the updates. If you're looking for something we don't have, let us know. We're happy to create it. But bottom line, if processes and procedures on your mind, we have you covered. You just have to go to our new website, go to the online store section, and you will see a whole section on agency process packs. We will see you there. Well, I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did. They're just some really, really great people.
I know we referenced our online school where Stephen Harrington has written some Hawksoft courses for us. He's currently written we run our sales training program with Hawksoft, so you can get some of the data he talks about, and our retention program. So we have that available that you could do it yourself from our online school, all mapped out, everything soup to nuts, or we're offering it in different formats. So definitely reach out if you're interested. But until then, loyal podcast listeners, we appreciate you very much and hope to connect with your agency soon to help you become ridiculously amazing.